Okay. Well, I thought the bye week came at a good time. I would have liked to probably had it a couple weeks earlier, but we got a chance to work on some fundamentals, try to get some guys healthier. Didn't quite get as many back as I wanted to from that regard, but we did get a chance to scrimmage with the young guys one day a little bit and kind of restart, I guess, our second half of the season.
So, Rich, start with that in terms of teaching the quarterbacks. What did you work with them on this past week? Where do they need to improve as you?
Yeah, unfortunately the experienced guys. Nico's out, Jalen's been out, still doubtful. Max, he's the other experienced guy. He's been banged up, and so the two young guys have been taking more reps, which is good for them. Every rep they can take is going to help in their growth. And they're still learning our stuff, of course, but they're also still learning the speed of the game at this level and all the stuff it takes to execute at a high level. So I thought last week was good for them to get in a lot of reps, and then certainly they're going to do the same thing this week. So we'll see what happens before Saturday.
You see from one of those quarterbacks to kind of establish themselves. What do they have to do in your mind?
It's really not that complicated. Just basically running the offense, making good decisions, making the plays that are there when they're there, and if the play is not there, if it's a bad play call, helping it not be disastrous. I guess, a lot of times you're a quarterback, people judging on what they do with the good plays, but sometimes if there's a play call that's not as good, they can I don't know if rescue you out of it or at least minimize the damage a little bit too. So that usually comes with more experience, but again, we don't have the benefit of that happening, so they've got to grow in a hurry.
What does it mean to have, because when Khalil started, you have 2 weeks now going into this UCF game. Fox has that as well. That's a different situation of preparation than what he had going to BYU, even though they're both road games. What's the difference there, even on how you're going to evaluate after the game? Because I imagine.
Yeah, I think you try not to. Every week, everybody's going to play you a little bit differently, so you try to prepare for how they're going to play you. But yet, if you add more things to your menu, I mean, those are more things that are going to be new for these guys that have never done it before. So you got to dial back as coaches a little bit because you're like, well, we need this and we need this. Well, these guys haven't run this before. It wasn't like they run it last year or whatever. So we have to be very conscious about, how much we put in or how much we add while these guys get their experience.
I know Nico's obviously not going to be playing, but what can you tell the fans about what he's still meant to the team, him still being around? Like how much has he still been involved?
Well, this is kind of our deal that I tell all of our guys. If you get injured and you're out temporarily, obviously you're still in the meetings and going the game plan because eventually you'll be back. If you're out for the year like him or Jaheim or Jaden, you want them to still be involved in the program, but like when we're meeting for game plans or meeting for their next time appointment, I want them to go ahead and get more treatment down in the training room or get in the weight room and get more things physically because they ain't got to worry about the game plan stuff. But I want them everybody at practice, everybody's at practice. Everybody in the program's at practice. So, just to be around and for the guys to see them and I don't really count on those guys to help coach. That's what the coaches' jobs are for. But just to have them around, I don't ever want an injured guy to feel that, hey, I'm injured, so I'm not playing. I'm not part of the program. No, you're still part of the program, and we want you there every day, just like everybody else.
Rich, you mentioned yesterday that Ty Edwards is down in Alabama seeing a specialist. How's the rest of the running back room done so far over the break, and Diori Hubbard, and how they progressed through stuff?
Yeah, Ty's thing is, and Ty wants to play. It's been frustrating, so our medical staff is doing everything they can to see what the issue is to get him back, obviously, because he's, Jaheim is out, and then, Ty's been really out since the second game or third game. So it's gave an opportunity for Dior. He's done a good job with his chance. Sincere Bowers is back now, so he's going to get a chance to play more reps, and you still have Clay and Tyler Jacklich. So it's not as deep the room as we thought we'd have originally, and obviously you lose the experience with Jaheim and the big guy with Ty. But those guys are good players, and they can do some stuff for us.
Well, the game has changed since you first came here, and while the way the game is played too is different. What similarities are there between the first year there, first time, and now, and what lessons did you take out of that first time?
Yeah, from my first year here, the first time, yeah, that was, it's a little bit different than just from, the roster management part of it, before you'd come here and like, how many veterans did you have? Because you didn't lose as many people. You lost the senior class, which I'm trying to remember, Bob. I think we lost a pretty good senior class. So we had some inexperience at quarterback and some other spots. But you had guys that at least were in college at the same spot for 2 or 3 years. But they had to learn it all new. Now you lose a lot more than just your seniors. Now you can bring guys in, more guys in with some experience somewhere, but not experience in your system, so to speak. So it is really a whole different dynamic from a roster acquisition management type of situation than before. And then what's similar is that, if you have coaches that have been with you, they know your offense, your defense, and some of the schematic part of it deal. So, but from a competitive standpoint, it is 100% different than you can get healthy in a hurry if you have enough money, if you evaluate the right guys. Previously, you could get healthy, but it'd take a couple years because you got to have a good recruiting class, and then those freshmen grow up, and then you back it up with another recruiting class, and then they grow up, and then by the time you get to year 3 or 4, all your guys in your program for 3 or 4 years have grown into it. Now, if you got enough money, you can get healthy in a hurry, in a year or a year and a half.
More patient now than you were then, or are you?
Oh gosh, probably not. And that's the problem. I mean, Raquel could tell you. I wish I had more patience. I have no patience, and that's never changed. It's like, why you like to go fast? Because I have no patience. I want to call plays right now. You want to win right like yesterday. So I don't. I could stand up here and preach. Let's have patience until we get this roster where we want to go and get the system in place and all that kind of stuff. But hell, ain't nobody more impatient than I am, So I'm trying to figure out what we can do right now, every day. What can we do right now to win? And legally within the rules, of course, right? And sometimes it's painful to wait or have to understand you gotta have a little luck. And you got to have a plan to get fixed what you need to get fixed. We have the plan. Whatever we got to need to get fixed, trust me, we're in the process of fixing it. Some of that involves, external things that we're in the process of doing, but it's not fun right now, to go through some of the stuff we're going through. But I'm not giving up on this year's team at all. I like our guys. They still work. They come to, they got a great attitude. It's the second half of the season, a fresh start. I like the way we handled the bye week. I think they'll be ready to play Saturday.
You mentioned at the beginning you scrimmage the young guys.
Yeah.
We probably haven't seen a lot. So give us a little insight into the guys, the young guys that are maybe redshirting or aren't playing much.
Yeah, I think one reason we wanted to look and see, was there anybody that's going to be ready for it play right now? And there's one or two of them that's kind of stood out a little bit. So by the end of the year, they may get an opportunity to play. You can play them in 4 games and redshirt them. So there were a couple, not a lot, but there were a couple. And then there also was some signs like, okay, well, we're probably not as deep here or is going to be as good here at this spot, at this position as we need to. And so the recruiting piece of it is, we brought in a bunch of new guys this year, and we had to. We got here too late to really sign a big high school class. This year, we've been here long enough to sign a really good high school class. So I think I said earlier, we'll probably sign 35 or more high school guys this year. And then however 8 to 10 transfer portal guys. And so we'll be able to build it that way for a couple of reasons. One is we can get young guys and develop them, whatever, and two, it's less expensive. But we still got to attack the portal too, and with glaring needs. And so there's a lot going on in the next month and a half before the dead period in December that we got to do recruiting-wise.
To the end of recruiting, and I totally get why you would do it that way. Can you expand or have any other explanation, I guess, to any fans? Because there's been some pushback to fans that are kind of freaking out that, oh, how are we going to compete in this era with what you're saying? It's very similar to what a lot of the top 25 programs are doing to build a good team. But is there any comment that you can give fans who are nervous by you saying that you're going to focus more on high school, even though your peers are doing that?
But I don't know if the focus more on high school is that we're going to focus more on high school than we did last year, which is the obvious because we've had a year to be here. You know what I mean? And we're still going to, like, if there's a transfer portal guy and there's a high school guy, and this transfer portal guy is a lot better player than the high school guy, then we're going to take the better player. You know what I mean? But we can focus more on high school guys because we've had time than we did a year ago. You know, that was the staff wasn't even hired till then. And then we're also going to be in a better position from a rev share standpoint. It's still not even. I mean, it's like everybody's going to get between probably 12 to 15 million from the rev share. But the NIL, there's no cap on that. And so until there's a cap on that, there's no really cap on your salary. And so some schools will spend 30 million on top of it, some will spend 20, and some will spend 10, and some maybe not as that much, you know. And so in order for us to compete for championships, we have a great rev share thing. Our scholarship numbers are going to be good, but that additional dollars probably needs to be, competitive for us to be, where the top of the country is going to be. And so we've got a plan for that. Our administration understands that. Our fans, I think, for the most part, understand that. But there's challenges to do that. We're in a smaller state with less people, and so we've got to be really creative in how we add to that number to be where everybody else is at.
As far as Saturday, UCF, what do you see, and then how do you go about preparing for Jackson or maybe not seeing Jackson?
Yeah, I think we're prepared for them for what they do. They don't do a whole lot different, whether it's Jackson or Cam in their Fancher. They're athletic guys. They'll play with 11. We've struggled at times with mobile quarterbacks this year, just getting the guys down. They've been able to extend plays and do stuff. So that's part of the thing is that we got to put pressure on the quarterback without exposing our guys to, one-on-one coverage all the time, and got to get them on the ground. They're athletic enough that they'll extend plays, and that's the thing that makes you most nervous. We play all these athletic quarterbacks, and they're running around creating plays.
What about defensively? What do you see from them defensively?
Yeah, very athletic up front. They're speed guys you can measure off the edge is a concern. They got fast, athletic guys at defensive end, the linebackers, and one of them played for Zach at Oklahoma, a really good player. They'll play a lot of man coverage in the secondary because they can, and they're very active. Like everybody nowadays, is nobody stands still. I mean, everybody kind of moves and slants and angles and twists up front, which we got to prepare for.
Rich, the way you all finished the BYU game and then just kind of getting that time off, did you sense that the mood was maybe better than a losing streak or a losing record, or do guys know that? And that's
not really. I mean, I was mad. Like typically 24 hours, then you got to move on, right? Well, because we had an open date, I waited 2 days, and it was like, we didn't get back till like 11 in the morning the next day. So, I mean, it was a long trip. I mean, it was, I think, literally 11 a.m. when we pulled in on Saturday morning. And so typically 24 hours later, Sunday, you move on. But we gave them Sunday off. So Monday was our next day we met, and I was still mad just because we just missed some opportunities. And, I challenged the staff and the players, but, everybody on staff, are we doing everything we can to have success? And I think we are. I mean, as best as we can. And some of it's out of our control, but every day I wake up is, are we doing everything we can to win right now? And that's a challenge for all of us. And to our players' credit and to the staff's credit, they're doing that. They're trying everything they can. And some of it's out of our control, but some of it isn't. So we got the things that we can control. Let's control the best we can.
And then just two things. I think you said 8 to 10 transfers, ideal.
What's that?
Yeah, I think you said 8 to 10
Yeah,
transfers.
it'll be more than that, I'm
Okay.
sure. I mean, I think you're talking 8 to 10 impact, impact guys. Maybe that's the right word for it. But it'll be more than that, I'm sure.
Sorry, you mentioned just a range of numbers about over the cap. I'm sure you want like 50 million over the cap if you could.
Yeah,
but
who
what do you
doesn't,
think's
right?
realistic to be competitive in that sense?
I don't mind sharing with you if we got 10 over the cap, 10 million over the cap, I think that kind of gives you an opportunity to be competitive in your league. I don't know what some of the other. I know there's a few in our league that are probably twice or three times that, but you can be competitive with maybe. But that's a big number, and I'm. Like I said, I'm very appreciative where we're at. Our people have been fantastic. Our supporters have been fantastic, and it's I don't want to say it's uncomfortable, but it's a different dynamic that we're seeing now, and it's probably no secret if you look at who's doing really well in college football right now. There's very few of them that are way up in the top. 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 in the country that don't have that large number. I don't know who's still undefeated, but I can tell you in our league, they've done it. Some of the schools have done a great job, and everybody knows that. It's not some kind of secret.
Richard, you talked about controlling the things that you can't control. What are some of those things? Just executing.
Well, yeah, and I go back to that. What can we control? I said we gotta be good at the fundamentals. We gotta execute better. We gotta work hard. We can't have mental mistakes. We can't have stupid penalties. We gotta practice with a certain type of intensity. Also, all those things are things that we have to do well, and as coaches, we got to do better. Those are the things that we can control. And there are times we're okay with that, but there are times that I think, myself included, that we can, do things better. And that's the part that's the message to our teams. We got good enough players to have success and do well, but we're not good enough to mess around and win. We can't have silly mistakes or bad fundamentals or what have you and win games. So I don't want to say we have to be perfect, because nobody can be perfect, but we can be better, and that's our challenge to our guys.
I saw somebody tweet a couple weeks ago that 10-2 or 9-3 might be the new normal for elite college football, where it used to be 11-0 or 12-0. Do you buy that?
Well, no, I don't know. I never really saw it at that point. I mean, if you got enough, it's obviously if you have the resources, but you still got to buy the right players, right? But if you have the resources and you buy and evaluate the right players, and you have a good plan and they work hard, you're going to probably be up there. There's a reason, like the NFL, where they hold the draft, that the worst team gets the first pick. And there's a reason why they have a true hard salary cap, where at whatever the number is, 250 million, whatever it is, you know what I mean? And so their extra NIL, our guys, when the Pat Mahomes does commercials for State Farm, whatever, that's kind of a deal on their own. But even everything that happens there it goes through the collective bargaining agreements, get approved by the league. That league is, and then even when they schedule, if you win the Super Bowl, you're probably going to have a harder schedule next year, because the idea is to make everybody 9-8 and 8-9 the next year, right? Yeah, and if you get a great quarterback that's next level, you're probably going to have a chance to keep winning, because that position's so important. So, we don't have that, and I'm not sitting here complaining. I mean, it's just common sense, right? That somehow needs to get fixed in collegiate athletics, or you have to have people say, "Hey, listen, we want to play with the big boys on an annual basis." And what's that number going to be? And a lot of coaches get frustrated. I mean, I'm gonna lie to you. You could be frustrated too. It's like, golly, we want this and want that. All coaches want everything. You know what I mean? I don't. We all want, because we all want to win. But I'm not gonna sit back there and say, wow, gosh, we got no chance. Nah, we always got a chance. So we got to do our job to try to win these games.
Based on all of that, though, obviously everyone's focusing on the quarterback position and the evaluation of when you find that guy. How much do you believe that, whether it's somebody on the roster or not, whenever you find that quarterback to be the next Pat White, that you can overcome even if everything else isn't perfect and then can still contend? How much is that important?
To that end, I've always said this: if you've got a great quarterback, you always got a chance to win. If you don't have one that's good, you'll always struggle. And I think it's a team game, but it all starts with that guy at any level. You look at the pro level, you look at the collegiate level, you look at the high school level. If you got a guy there, you're going to have a chance. And there's a lot of good ones out there. I think we got good ones on our roster. We'll recruit good ones. We'll keep bringing good ones in. And I've been blessed. I've had a lot of good ones in my career, and they won a lot of games.
Okay, we got time for one more question.
Rich, do you think lack of patience is kind of a theme in college football nowadays? I mean, you look at what Indiana's doing, and people are like, why can't we do that? And they're firing head coaches.
Oh yeah, there's certainly less patience with that, and I don't know if the money thing might be, whether it's the money getting paid to the coaches or the money getting paid to the players. I think it's probably more the pro mentality, right? The NFL, they'll fire you after six weeks sometimes, a year and a half, 2 years. And so I think there's part of that is the reason there's less patience with that in college athletics. But we all understand it going into it. But I don't know if there's a lot of folks that don't understand everything that's going on, and they're probably like, why did they win so quickly, or why aren't they winning so quickly, or why all of a sudden they're not winning national championships? There's always more to the story than what everybody probably knows, but that's kind of the nature of our business. It's not, you kind of got to take it if you're going to be in this profession.